Hello everyone, this is Parul, your science teacher, and today we will explore something teeny in size but mighty in function. Have you ever wondered what makes up our body, plants, and even bacteria? What did Robert Hooke discover in 1665? And the answer is cell, the basic structural and functional unit of life. In this particular video, we will cover topics like key discoveries in the world of cell, then types of organism, types of cells, difference between plant and animal cell, cell theory, and many more things. Let's dive in without wasting much time. So, what do you mean by cell? Every living organism around you, from the tallest tree to the smallest insect, is made up of microscopic building blocks. And what are these building blocks called? Cell. So these teeny structures are so small that millions could fit on the head of a pin. Yet they carry out all the functions necessary for life. So every living being around you, whether it is small or large in size, they all consist of a single unit, which is cell. It may be a single in number or even a cluster of cells. Um, we will discuss it in our video, whether it is in single form or in multiple form. Okay, so till now, let's have a look on the discovery of cell. Just imagine who who was the scientist who firstly saw cell and able to define it. We can see the key discoveries from 1665 to 1855 and the chronological order um, from from a dead cell to the whole cell theory. You can see the discoveries or the process in the discovery of cell. Firstly, Robert Hooke in 1665 uh, observed dead cells in cork cambium under a self-made microscope, that is electron microscope. So he, under his self-made microscope, observed dead cell of cork cambium and coining these small block-like structure as cell because they remind him of small rooms. After then, in 1674, Anton van Leeuwenhoek discovered living cells in the pond, okay, and opening the door to microbiology. Okay, father of biology, किसको कहा जाता है? Comment down in the comment section. And after 1674, in the year 1831, Robert Brown identified the nucleus as the center of the cell. Then in year 1838, two scientists, Sladin and Scaven, proposed a cell theory, establishing that all living things are made up of cells. Rodolph Virchow, in year 1855, added the third principle of cell theory, that is, all cell arises from pre-existing cell, completing the cell theory. Of course, cells don't arise immediately. There is a process which we know as reproduction or how cell divides. It divides or arises from pre-existing cell. So the process of what reproduction or division of cells. That is mitosis and meiosis. Okay. So cell theory. I'm sorry, cell theory. What is cell theory? Cell theory is one of the most important principles in biology. Of course, it is. It explains the foundation of all life on earth. Okay. So first principle tell us all living organisms are made of one or more cell. And the second principle tell us that cell is the basic structure and functional unit of life. Of course, cell is the basic structure that perform all essential life activities for the survival. And third principle tells us all cell arise from pre-existing cell through cell division. Type of organism. Okay, so the type of organism or the number of cells present in them. Um, it is of two types, unicellular organism and multicellular organism. Unicellular organism that consists of only single cell, and that single cell perform all essential life activities for the survival of that cell. For example, it do reproduction, it do respiration, it do excretion, and all of important life processes. Despite their small size, they can eat, grow, reproduce, and respond to their environment. And the example of unicellular organism is amoeba, bacteria, paramecium, and yeast. And what are multicellular organisms? Multicellular organisms are organisms that are made up of many specialized cells working together. Different cells have different jobs, like muscle cells for movement and nerve cells for communication. The best example of a multicellular organism is human beings. So, as we know, in our body, there are different organs to perform different function. Now, how these organs form? This organ forms from tissues, and tissues is itself a cluster of cell. Okay, the cluster of cell form tissue, and the tissue then form organs, and then organs um, responsible for doing different life processes in our body. For example, lungs do respiration, okay, and the kidney do excretion. So different organs perform different function. Here the function is divided into here the life processes is distributed among different organs, okay, or amongst different system. For example, respiratory system, excretory system. So it is divided into different systems. An example of multicellular organism is humans, trees and plants, animals, and fungi. Okay, I'm giving you 2 seconds. Till then, just write down 2 to 3 differences between unicellular and multicellular organism. Can you just name them or differentiate it? Okay. So the definition is clear to you. Unicellular organism and multicellular organism. The definition is clear to you. Then body structure. Yeah, body structure. Yeah. So body structure exhibits simple. Yeah, unicellular organism has simpler body structure, while the multicellular organism has complex body structure. As I discussed earlier, multicellular organism has a different system for different functions. And while the in unicellular organism, a single cell does all cell processes or life processes that is essential for their survival. Hmm. And cell type is unicellular organism include both prokaryotic and eukaryotic organism, while multicellular organism exclusively eukaryotic organism. What is this prokaryotic and eukaryotic organism? Our next slide is on this topic. Example I as discussed, example of unicellular organism is amoeba, bacteria, and multicellular humans. Examples are humans, trees, and mushroom. So these are the key differences. Now moving to types of cell. So there are 2 types of cell: prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cell. And prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. What are these 2 types of cells are? So okay, these are the simplest and oldest type of cell on Earth. It means the prokaryotic cell are primitive ones. They lack true nucleus, and their genetic material floats freely in the cell. Sorry. So the key difference between these two cell is prokaryotic don't have a true nucleus. Their genetic material floats freely in the cell, while the eukaryotic cell contains a specialized structure called nuclear envelope that contains genetic material in it. And prokaryotic cell has no membrane-bound nucleus, no specialized organelles. It means that cell don't have specialized organelles in it, and it is found in bacteria and archaea. Prokaryotic cells found in bacteria, usually smaller and simpler, while whereas eukaryotic cells are more complex cells with a true nucleus that house DNA. Of course, DNA is genetic material, and they contain specialized structure called organelles that perform specific functions. That means a eukaryotic cell has more cell organelles, and eukaryotic cell have a membrane-bound nucleus, contain specialized organelles found in plant, animal, fungi, and protists, usually larger and more complex. Now you are able to differentiate between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell. On the basis of nucleus, eukaryotic cell has nucleus that is well defined, membrane bound, containing DNA, whereas prokaryotic cell don't have a membrane-bound nucleus, and the genetic material is located in a nucleate region. And the eukaryotic cell contain membrane-bound organelles. Example, mitochondria, chloroplast. Of course, they have membrane-bound organelles in it. Mitochondria, that is the powerhouse of the cell. Chloroplast, that is found in plant cell. And prokaryotic cell lacks membrane-bound organelles. As I mentioned earlier, it is a primitive type of cell, while the eukaryotic cell is more complex, advanced one. And the size of a eukaryotic cell is large. Larger, it's range from 5 to 100 micrometer, while prokaryotic cell size is varies from 1 to 10 micrometer. It ranges from 1 to 10 micrometer. And the number of chromosome in eukaryotic cell is more, while prokaryotic cell usually has single chromosome in it. And cell structure is simpler one in prokaryotic cell, whereas eukaryotic cell has complex structure. Examples examples of eukaryotic cell is plant, animal, fungi, whereas prokaryotic cell contains bacteria. Prokaryotic cell examples are bacteria. Okay, our next topic is plant versus animal cell. So while both are eukaryotic cell, plant and animal cell have distinct difference that helps them perform their unique functions. We can see a diagram of plant cell and animal cell. So, plant cell has cell wall around it, while animal cell don't have cell wall. Outermost layer of plant cell is cell wall, while in animal cell there is no cell wall, and the outer layer of animal cell is cell membrane. Chloroplast is present in in plant cell because plants are autotrophic in nature, so they synthesize their food through the process of photosynthesis. So they need chloroplast. But we humans are heterotrophs in nature. We don't make our own food, but depends on plant for our foods. That's why we don't need chloroplast in our cell. Okay. So plants have generally larger vacuoles because they store water and nutrients in it. It stores water and nutrients in it, while animal cell has smaller vacuoles and it is multiple in numbers. And the shape of a plant cell is rectangular shape, fixed and rigid. This rigid structure or shape is given by cell wall. Cell wall provides rigidity and strength to the plant cell. That's why it has a particular shape, that is rectangular shape, fixed shape, and rigid shape. While animal cell, it is irregular in shape. Okay, it is flexible and varied because it like cell wall. And the difference between animal and plant cell. Hmm. We have done plant animal cell also. Okay. The summary of this whole lecture is let's review the key concept we have learned about cell today. Cell is the basic unit of life. Every living organism from bacteria to blue whales is made of cell that carry out all life processes. Organism can be unicellular or multicellular. Some organisms have just one cell while others have trillions working together in harmony, as we discussed earlier. Okay. Mm, can you name unicellular organism and a multicellular organism? Comment down in the comment section. Cell can be prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Prokaryotic cells are simple with a nucleus, while eukaryotic cells are complex with specialized organelles. Sorry, yeah, prokaryotic cells are simple without nucleus. Okay. Plant and animal cells differ in structure and function. Each type of cell has unique features that help the organism survive in its environment. Before ending this lecture, let's test yourself. I'm giving you approximately 10 questions, and trust me, you have done all basic things that I want to teach you in this particular video. Now you are able to do that 10 quizzes that I am giving you right now. Don't doubt yourself, feel confident, and just answer them. And I know most of you are able to get 8 to 9 marks from 10. You will score 8 or 9. Most of you will score 8 to 9. I'm fumbling a lot today. Actually, I get tired. Okay. So our first question is, which scientist is credited with the first observing living microorganism, such as bacteria, and is often called the father of microbiology? So, which scientist is credited with the first observing living organism? Okay, I'm not asking for a dead or microorganism. I'm not asking that who firstly observed dead microorganism. I'm giving you a hint. So, who first observed living microorganism, such as bacteria, in a pond? The answer is Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Leeuwenhoek. Okay, moving to the next. Rudolf Virchow in 1855 conclusions Omnis Cellula e Cellula added which foundational principle to the cell theory? So cell theory का third principle क्या था? All cell arise from pre-existing cell. The cell is the basic structure and function and unit of life. Scalden and Saban Scalden and Saban has already proposed two principles, and Rudolf Virchow proposed third one. What is that third principle is? That is all cells arise from pre-existing cell. What is the primary characteristics that distinguish a prokaryotic cell such as a bacterium from a eukaryotic cell? So what is the primary characteristic? The presence of genetic material, the presence of cell wall for structural support, the ability to perform all life functions, or the absence of a membrane-bound nucleus. I hope you all answer it. A cell observed under a microscope has a rigid rectangular shape and contains chloroplast. This cell most likely belongs to which of the following? A human, a fungus, a bacterium, and a plant. Contains chloroplast. Plant. Which statement best describes a key characteristics of a unicellular organism like an amoeba or yeast? So, we have to answer key characteristics of a unicellular organism. So it is made up of many specialized cells that works together. It is always a prokaryote because of its small size. A single cell must perform all essential life functions. It can move, eat, or grow independently. Best to describe a key characteristics of unicellular organism. A single cell that perform all essential life processes. The flexibility of an animal cell membrane, in contrast to the rigidity of a plant cell, is primarily due to the absence of a so the flexibility of animal cell membrane due to the absence of which cell part, cell wall, chloroplast, large central vacuole, or nucleus. Due to the absence of cell wall. Cell wall provides strength and rigidity to the cell. Huh? Which of these structures would you expect to find in a plant cell but not in an animal cell? Ribosome, chloroplast, a cell membrane, mitochondria. Which of these structures would you expect to find in a plant cell but not in an animal cell? Animal cell में नहीं पाया जाएगा. The concept that humans are made of trillions of less cells, such as nerve cell for communication and muscle cell for movement, illustrates that humans are prokaryotic organism, photosynthetic organism, unicellular organism, multicellular organism. Humans are made of trillions of cells. Robert Hooke's contribution to cell biology was coining the term cell after observing what material under a microscope. Living bacteria from pond water, the nucleus inside a plant cell, human red blood cells, then thin slice of dead cock. Robert Hooke discovered cell under cock under his self microscope called cambium. Remember it? Eukaryotic cells are described as containing specialized structures called organelles. What is significance of this? Specialized structures called organelles. What is the significance of it? It allows for different life processes to be carried in separate compartment. It proves the cell must have a rigid cell wall. It means the cell do not need a membrane to survive. It allows the cell to be smaller and simpler than a prokaryotic cell. So, in our next video, we will cover cell organelles. We will discuss each cell organelles one by one, their structure and their functions. Okay, for example, we will discuss mitochondria. We will discuss what are ribosomes, what are centrosome, what are Golgi apparatus. Okay, so we will discuss all these cell organelles in detail, their structure and functions. Till now, revise all this concept that I taught you today. Bye bye. Have a nice day.